Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the media, the NDC has cited a rather disgusting, self-serving, and bizarre advice from the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfred Yeboah Dame, on the reports on the work of the Inter-Ministerial Committee against illegal mining, authored by its chairman and former Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Professor Godfred Yeboah Dame. Having meticulously analyzed the contents of the Attorney General's legal opinion, we have come to the irresistible conclusion that the said advice is nothing but a poor attempt to cover up the complicity of officials of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government in the illicit galamsey trade. For the avoidance of doubt, the claims by Mr. Godfred Yeboah Dame that there is no evidence to substantiate the damning revelations contained in the 36-page Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report are simply false. The Attorney General's latest step, or call it misstep, on the subject of this all-important scattered Galamsey report is part of the coordinated efforts to whitewash the crimes of many in government since the matter broke. Friends from the media, contrary to what the Attorney General has come out to tell the whole world about the lack of evidential value of the Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report, there are ample pieces of evidence in the public domain that go to confirm several of the damning revelations contained in the said report. It is against this backdrop that we have called this press conference to remind Ghanaians and the Attorney General, Godfred Yeboah Dame, about a few, just a few, of the hard corroborative pieces of evidence in the public domain which lends credence and confirms the assertions of the good old professor. Number one, we shall look at Donald NC's Heritage Imperial Limited and what the 36-page Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report said about them. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a video documentary published by Joy News titled Forest Under Siege contains incontrovertible video evidence that confirms the assertions of Professor Frimpong Boateng to the effect that Emmanuel Donald Nsia, owner of CJ Alaska and Imperial Heritage Limited, has under the guise of prospecting engaged in illegal mining in the Krobo section of the Pampraman Forest Reserve in the IMCIM area of the Ashanti region. This video documentary buttresses and confirms the assertions contained in the Frimpong Boateng Galamsey reports. Sometime in 2018, the Anti-Galamsey Task Force arrested and seized about 30 excavators and mining equipment belonging to the company for engaging in illegal mining in the Krobo forest. This incident was captured on video by multimedia's Erastus Asaridonka in the presence of other eyewitnesses who are still alive today. At the time of the seizure of the equipment, the company had destroyed about 1,000 hectares of the forest when all they had was a prospecting license. These are indisputable facts. I repeat, these are indisputable facts, and the weight of such evidence cannot be glossed over by any impartial investigator or prosecutor. For the avoidance of doubt, for those who have not seen this documentary, we shall show you snipers of the documentary. And if Godfred Dame is listening or watching, you should pay attention. The evidence he claims he cannot find, we are going to give him that evidence for him to know that his claim that the Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report is bereft of evidence is nothing but palpable falsehood calculated to whitewash the crimes of MPP functionaries and apparatchiks who have been caught to be engaged in illegal mining. Shall we play Snipers of the Forest and the Siege documentary now?
Kobro Obuakwa, Obenedebing, Aponapong, Ankam, Manswa Fede, and Mosikrum. As of 2018, Apamprama served the timber needs of about 8 timber firms legally recognized as felon rights holders of the production forest. This is the Kobro community, an old town which sits deep within the Apamprama Forest Reserve. Residents still have fresh memories of how the destruction of the Kobro section of the reserve started in 2018. One by one, they tell me of how the late Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Sir John, in 2018 convinced the townsfolk that the government was undertaking a reclamation exercise in the forest.
Initially, they said they were covering pits, but then they started building settlements. We wondered why they were setting up shelters if they were just covering pits. Then a number of machines were brought in, so we mobilized to demonstrate. But Sir John came in and assured us they were just planting trees. But after a month, when we went back, the forest was crawling in a lot of mines.
That began a series of events that marked the woes and destruction of the once beautiful natural forest. A forest entry permit was granted to Unique Star Point Company Limited to carry out reclamation activities on some portions of the forest reserve in November 2017. In the same year, a forest entry permit was granted to Heritage Imperial Company Limited to conduct prospecting activities in December 2017. Unique Star Point Company Limited and Heritage Imperial Company Limited belong to Emmanuel Donald Intua and Reynolds Kwabi. Contrary to mining regulations, what was supposed to be prospecting and reclamation of the Apamprama Forest Reserve turned out to be active mining of the reserve with over 18 excavators and a number of bulldozers.
The forest became a no-go area. We could not enter the forest. They mounted a huge barrier. They brought in bodyguards. I used to drive some miners into the forest. We had to endure drills from the military. We concluded that these people were sent from the top.
The illegal activity in the Kobro section of the Apamprama Forest Reserve went on for months under the watch of the Forestry Commission.
So this devastation went on, and the Apamprama Forest Reserve sites are right here. The Forestry Commission says it had no evil, it did not see anybody bringing in heavy equipment. This has lasted for close to a year. No government official got wind of it, or nobody was prepared to even face them.
After failed attempts by Operation Vanguard and other security agencies to stop the illegality, the Inter-Ministerial Task Force on Illegal Mining moved in to stop the pillaging of the forest. The law does not allow the use of heavy earth-moving equipment in prospecting in forest areas, but Imperial Heritage Mining Limited in 2018 was actively mining the reserve with about 30 excavators using a prospecting license.
Task Force Commander W1 Isaac Nyafo is overwhelmed by the wanton destruction of forest.
Indeed, this is the largest. In fact, I don't even know how to start and how to end. I'm even shocked seeing the ground like this. The largest so far at this very site.
The company had destroyed a large part of the forest under prospecting a crime they were never punished for. Nanayao Enin is the chief of Kobro. He indicates imperial heritage came back to mine in the forest after it was driven out.
Sir John met the whole community and told us they were doing reclamation. But in the end, when they mined and the Jukun burnt his machines, he came back to mine in the forest. The soldiers and the Forestry Commission know he came back.
In 2021, Imperial Heritage was back mining in the Odamo section of the Apamprama Forest Reserve, this time with a mining lease. This was at the time when the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, had declared forest reserves and water bodies red zones and restricted areas where no mining should be allowed to take place.
We are pursuing that strongly.
The minister also instructed the Forestry Commission to desist from issuing forest entry permits for purposes of mineral prospecting or mining in any forest reserve. But in 2021, my team met Imperial Heritage Mining Limited and its Chinese miners mining the Odamo section of the Apamprama Forest Reserve under the protection of over 30 fully armed military men. After our expose of the illegality in 2021, the military personnel were withdrawn, but authorities are yet to make public findings on who assigned them. The chief of Kobro, Nanayao Eni, narrates how he and his elders were treated when they confronted military men who besieged the forest to protect other miners in 2022.
On Monday, my late post and some of my elders took a trip deep into the forest. We met a barrier manned by armed soldiers. This was in 2022. I introduced myself as the chief of Kobro and caretaker of the forest for Bekwai Paramountcy. I told them that we noticed some activity in the forest. We demanded to see their documents so we could inform the king of their presence. The soldier called the owner of the mining site on phone and told him of our presence. His boss told him to ask us whether the forest is owned by the government or the people of Kobro. We couldn't challenge the armed soldiers, so we left.
Since then, other illegal miners have joined the fray.
Now look at this. You can drive miles of devastation caused to this reserve.
The once green Apamprama Forest Reserve has been largely reduced to a wasteland. Valuable tree and animal species are all gone.
Maybe this is the only green that is still active.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the sad reality of the Apamprama Forest Reserve. Now, how can the Attorney General and Minister of Justice say that in the face of this incontrovertible video evidence, in the face of evidence of the chiefs and people, the youth of Krobo testifying to the illegal mining operations of Donald and CJ Alaska, now Heritage Imperial, how can he say that there is no evidence to prosecute the company? What does he need to do to confirm that the company only had a prospecting license and that the company was engaged in illegal mining? Did the police even visit the said site where, according to report, the illegal mining took place? Did they speak to the chief? Did they speak to the people? Did they speak to multimedia and the other journalists who were part of this mission or this assignment? The answer is a big no. And that is because Ghana's Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Dame does not have the interest of the people of this country at heart. He's in office to protect corrupt officials who are destroying our forest reserves, as we have just seen. And that is why he has issued this farcical so-called legal opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, on the issue of the stealing and sale of seized excavators, it is an irrefutable fact that the Professor Frimpong Boateng reports contains evidence to the fact that the Central Regional Vice Chairman of the ruling New Patriotic Party, Horace Ekwewusi, and others were deeply involved in the missing excavator scandal. In fact, Frimpong Boateng, as Minister for Environment, reported the then Central Regional Vice Chairman, Ekwewusi, and the then Central Vice Chairman, Central Regional Security Coordinator, John Uforiata, and others to the police as persons responsible for the missing excavators in 2019. The advice of the Attorney General recounts how Professor Frimpong Boateng furnished the police with a statement of one Seth Mante, a journalist previously with Accra-based Peace FM, in which the journalist formally confessed that he was the errand boy of one John Uforiata, Central Regional Security Coordinator, and a member of Galam Stop, and that in the course of the operation of Galam Stop, he became a contact boy for miners whose excavators were seized by the task force. In a statement to the police, Seth Mante confessed that miners were directed by John Uforiata to pay between 50,000 and 55,000 into his bank account at NIB to influence the anti-Galamsey task force to release the seized excavators. Seth Mante further stated that all the monies paid into his bank accounts were withdrawn by him and paid to the Central Regional Security Coordinator John Uforiata, who gave Ekwewusi his share. According to Seth Mante, about 27 of the seized excavators were released to these miners. All these facts, friends from the media, are contained in Seth Mante's own statement, which he gave to the police upon his arrest in 2019. And this statement is contained in the 36-page Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report. And in fact, when the police contacted Professor Frimpong Boateng, according to the Attorney General, he gave them this statement again, which is in their custody, by the way, and added the official bank statement of the NIB account of Seth Mante, which was used to receive these bribes. For those of you who may not have seen the statement, we'll project it on the screen now. This is Seth Mante's own statement to the police, given. And in fact, it may not be eligible from the screen, but we're going to circulate copies of that so that you can read for yourself. He confessing to the fact that he facilitated the payment of bribes to government functionaries for the release of these excavators. In the face of this smoking gun evidence, what other evidence does any reasonable prosecutor need to prosecute Seth Mante, John Uforiata, or Ekwewusi for the stolen or missing excavators? In any case, what has the police done about this scandal since the matter was formally reported by Professor Frimpong Boateng in 2019? The Attorney General should tell Ghanaians about the outcome of this investigation, if any, and how, as AG, he worked with the police to thoroughly investigate this matter in the interest of the public. Why are the likes of Horace Ekwewusi, Seth Mante, and John Uforiata, who are the key perpetrators of this crime, still walking free? Why is Godfred Yeboah Dame deferring the prosecution of the culprits in this matter under the guise of further investigations in the face of such smoking gun evidence? How many years, ladies and gentlemen, does the police need to investigate this open and shut matter? The evasive and shameless Attorney General, who is clearly out to pervert justice, must answer these pertinent questions. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, on the issue of the complicity of Mr. Albert Joseph Kwan, former member of parliament for Mansour Dubia, in the illegal sale of mining concessions, the former regional NADMO boss and former first regional vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Listen to his title. Former Ashanti regional NADMO boss appointed by President Akufo-Addo and former first regional vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region by name Kwamina Senchire has publicly corroborated the assertions by Professor Frimpong Boateng. In an interview on Kumasi-based Sumpa FM, Kwamina Senchire recounted how Mr. Albert Kwam approached him and asked that he provides him with his company's certificate for a mining concession. Kwamina Senchire went on to say in the said interview that after supplying Mr. Kwam with his company's certificate, he was called by the Minerals Commission one day and given documents pertaining to the ownership of a mining concession, only for the concession to be sold to another person by name Ejewusu without his consent. Kwamina Senchire asserted that he recorded one of his conversations with Mr. Albert Kwam and has evidence of these matters. He further averred that he has officially reported the matter to the police, national security, and the Office of Special Prosecutor, and that he is willing to testify to these issues. And many of you may be hearing this for the first time. So we'll play to you snippets of the said interview. And you will see this Ashanti regional vice chairman of the NPP, a man who was appointed not too long ago by President Akufo-Addo to be the Ashanti regional NADMO boss, confessing, confirming, and vindicating the position of Professor Frimpong Boateng that Mr. Albert Joseph Kwam used his position as a member of the Minerals Commission to acquire mining concessions which he sold to NPP functionaries. The main reason for losing his seat. Can we hear that tape now? If that is a video.
NADMO boss as Antimantewa, former first vice NPP. Me watching. Now what to say? Anope, your friend one, and somewhere Ghana web near dinner. Say one may here say also which would you? It's answer FAO or certificate and your common concession a man of one said. Dear now walk a home. Now, me want to say, Yebra Prof. Kwam, Ewa Homanoso. And Tizama will be out. Would you buy it you?
That's so also. My several children, my children has come up when I'm open source. And you said some referred by any. Maybe office me, but I'm saying you na pata na mura kula mi hu bi da. And that's from standby. And I say, your certificate I have somewhere. Now, concession I and so the French and make case by. And you didn't come and eventually say, Obesman acquired Yaba. Acquired by for 2 months, acquired farmer. And James acquired a friend and a out. Today, I know from which one can be that. Or first, oh, Chairman, I'm sorry, he was with the war, a program about share when I'm secure. The question of the command. My TV, and to pursue a children the day, and I will say, Minerals Commission for free. Say, we have a concession. My plan for concession was here and I'm seeing. Say, no, so. And then I create incentive. I'm seriously complaining. It will be a friend of me. Say, now Mineral Commission for one for me. I know what's it called. I'm sure. And yet I'm so called back and I'm so watch out. No, my busy I am media. I know who's address. Now, so, once I will do the telephone number, that's when we get to say, na, Virginia. my video. You wanna video be by some man no a Johnson. See a she in the concession. So you pay our women coordinator and theater. You almost must send the friend. And I prefer say and conform you to Korea. And you would dear. No, sir, was wood dear. I'm shocking.
And dear say concession or yet you would dinner to swear the certificate now the concession.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I say, and you may say, and for friend, men and you know, and you wanna, you may say, maybe Professor Pam. And I will buy it. During the time, my year, I don't see you know. And she, buy it, so never one of the coin, not the coin is social. And I'm a praise current at my partner, DC, in the coin, on sending me a good one. And to be taken from our season or so, I see so, it will continue. Your friend was Rotary Park as a Rotary Park.
Rotary Park.
I want to tell you, Rotary Park or true communication in the share. Or kind of a company. If you want to know now, and you call me a buy EP. Now, when EP is the company, but we're changing phone number. It is a EP here, almost a person, but concession of track. It's here in Amsino. It's Suma, my call, Minerals Commission. The call a Mineral Commission to me, Sam Cheska, and Sunday, Sir Mark will be sending out to Yama, and the Cheska will be married. Near Miami, the phone of my name, I'm blessing you.
Kwabran TV Emrenti ye me busanie ye ra prof kam asem wo nyina si a awurewura na yi na echi no e dey asem no ka kire oje tu mu say concession no certificate na de ma no I don't know the ma papa no ye kwose na excavators na say dey
on kan no kre we dey make am enti na si dabi asem be echi. And I'm a call, CID, headquarters of the case. Now we show media and we find a media document via from certificate over because you say that internal revenue for and answer the media once a member, which is for you, madam, say, every year media. And you might know my children. One of the lawyers, small guy, say, I never live in a million. And I live in a CID. And then I will call that prime officer of Inter-Ministerial on the Cosmos. And the Professor Kwame say, I know now a million, and I'm so good problem here. No, I would say. I don't want to say, land commission. Say land commission for when you the Poland Commission, but we can't be by no phone that. It's in that I said, we are 3,300 as 3,005. The chairman, the professor, what is your number this year? Am I? I'm power. And I become you. We signed here investigation and become you. I went to the friend Patrick. On the show, so I won't hear you didn't friend is a way surveyor. And as Patrick admit to say, yes, on the year of and no one could get them to and then we catch a Patrick say, also, I don't support him at the one farm. I mean, I'm saying, also, I'm looking for the other minute, I don't shoot us. And I don't shoot us, and I don't say, although you're doing their continuing Professor Pam, and go, no, maybe I dance your money. That was the words of a Johnson. and I'm so bro. It's my way of preparing the now. Then I mean, charge and you are serious and you are not making sure who said, and then we should say a video from a professor from what so about it's a email as petition a command special prosecutor Masadi Bisu call national security and send them myself police force say organizing all the documents concerning that particular case now the battle now whichever way they want to go there because I'm ready for litigation.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the face of this corroborative testimony by no less a person than the former regional vice chairman of the NPP in the Ashanti region and a former appointee of this government, a confession, in the face of a confession by a willing witness who is readily identifiable and available to testify, how can the Attorney General say that there is no evidence to buttress the findings or revelations contained in the Frimpong Wating Galamsey report relative to the sale of mining concessions by Albert Kwan? If we may ask, did the police or the Attorney General invite Mr. Kwabena Senche or consider his testimony on this matter before coming to the conclusion that the report is bereft of evidence? Has the police even conducted any credible investigations into the official complaints that was lodged with them by Mr. Kwabena Senche? Has the police invited Mr. Albert Kwan to respond to the serious allegations leveled against him by Mr. Kwabena Senche? Friends from the media, per our intel from our reliable sources within the Ghana Police Service, no serious action has been taken by the police on this important matter. And in fact, same was not considered at all in the investigations into the Frimpong Wating Galamsey report, which returned a verdict by the Attorney General that there is no evidence to buttress the findings in the report. In a related matter in respect of Akonta Mining Limited, a company owned by the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the ruling New Patriotic Party, Bernard Antribo Isiakon, aka Chama Wuntumi, it has been established beyond every reasonable doubt that the company illegally entered and operated in the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve in breach of our mining and environmental laws. This fact was confirmed by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources publicly in a press statement dated the 30th of September 2022. And you can see a screenshot of a publication of this, or even the press statement on the screen. Yes, this was a press statement issued by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources dated 30th September 2022. You can Google it. The ministry was emphatic that Akonta Mining doesn't have a mining lease to mine in the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve. And there is video evidence of the fact that despite the fact that they did not have a mining lease to mine there, they were in fact engaged in illegal mining activities there. The matter was consequently reported to the police, yet nothing has come out of it. Friends, it will interest you to know that even in Samreboy, where Akonta Mining is said to have a mining lease, evidence captured on tape shows that the company has been mining very close to the Tano River in breach of the 100-meter reserve requirements of the Minerals Commission. As a matter of fact, the company has been found to have redirected and polluted the Tano River heavily. If you see the state of the Tano River today in that area, you weep for Madagascar. We will show you another video put together by Multimedia, just about 2 minutes video, for you to see how Wuntumi's Akonta Mining redirected and polluted the Tano River in flagrant disregard for environmental laws and mining laws. Can we see that video now?
So the Facebook is right now, the Akonta Mining Company Limited. So the site post is there. We entered, we asked the security guy, which site is this? It says Akonta Mining. So we moved on. We knew this was the site. We flew the drone and did it. The distance between the Tama River and the mining site, you can see from yourself and judge whether this is 100 meters per the law. And his mining leads, some of them have been opened and they are entering the Tama River. As red as it is, moving straight into the Tama, polluting it so much. 2 sites belonging to Apunta mining, polluting the Tama on that spot.
That's the Tama River.
And these pictures from the Apunta mining. Yeah, these are Apunta mining sites. So you see the leaves. You see the leaves there. So this one, I'm not the one telling you, but you can see it for yourself. And that's why the small scale miners are raising concerns that what he's doing is illegal. Yes. Others are being arrested. Yes. But the type of Apunta mining has not been touched. You see, I'm not saying it. I've heard him say that I'm calling him a Galamsey. The Minerals Commission says, even if you have a license to mine, the moment you start mining in the water source, the moment you start mining in forest reserve, you are doing illegal.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as we speak, Bernard and Yeboah, also known as Untumi, the mastermind of these nation-wrecking acts, is still walking free after polluting the Tano River through his illegal mining activities. The only reason why this is the case is because the Attorney General Godfred Dame is not interested in prosecuting the directors of the company for their illegal mining activities. Friends from the media, the foregoing facts point to one irresistible conclusion, which is that the corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government is neck deep in the illicit galamsey trade and will stop at nothing to cover up their complicity. The extent of official complicity in this matter is as clear as daylight. Like many environmentalists and patriotic voices, the NDC is deeply worried and appalled by the extent to which President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Alhaji Bawumia have gone to encourage and condone the destruction of Ghana's environment. They have been active promoters, collaborators, and enablers of the illicit galamsey trade. The actions through the Attorney General to continuously protect corrupt officials of the ruling MPP and the government speak loudly. Posterity will never forgive them. Indeed, as far back as 22nd April 2023, the Office of the President, in commenting on the 36-page Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report, stated that the report is, quote, a catalogue of personal grievances, unquote, and that the claims in the report were unfounded and amounted to, quote, hearsay. This was followed by an advice from the Attorney General, Godfred Dame, on 11th May 2023, for the Dame Frimpong Boateng report to be given little attention, a comment that was widely published by the media. Little wonder that the Attorney General will in September 2023 advise that the said report lacks evidence to ground any prosecution. A sinister agenda of Godfred Dame to downplay and cover up the Dame Galamsey report and the revelations therein was manifestly clear right from the outset. In short, the so-called advice from the Attorney General Godfred Dame is nothing but a cover-up calculated to whitewash the incessant corruption and nation-wrecking conduct of officials of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government and the ruling MPP. The advice from the Attorney General, the principal legal advisor to the government, is a big insult to the sensibilities of Ghanaians. It's a big insult to the sensibilities of the nation. We call on the general public to treat same with utmost contempt. This is the same way the Galamsey fraud scandal by ace investigative journalist Anas Arimiyaw Anas was covered up and the perpetrators left off the hook. We must not allow this government to get away with this scandal. It does appear that the Attorney General Godfred Dame is not interested in doing justice for the nation, but is only following after the footsteps of his boss, President Akufo-Addo, who has become known as the clearing agent of corruption. Quite clearly, this man, Godfred Dame, does not befit the stature of the high office of Attorney General and Minister of Justice, because he simply does not give a hoot about the interests of Ghana. The NDC therefore demands the immediate resignation of the Attorney General for this dubious legal advice, which seeks to cover up serious crimes that have been perpetrated against the state by corrupt government and NPP functionaries who are destroying our water bodies and forests through illegal mining. More importantly, we wish to call on the special prosecutor, Mr. Kisia Jabin, to expedite his investigations into this matter and to immediately prosecute all those found culpable. Fellow countrymen and women, our collective survival as a nation is at stake here. Our beloved country is fast losing its flora, fauna, and water bodies. We are fast becoming endangered species due to the greed and selfishness of a few government officials, party apparatchiks, and irresponsible persons who are recklessly engaging in illegal mining with impunity. We cannot afford to sit aloof and allow this canker to fester. If we close our eyes to the evil going on, we shall all bear the consequences of the actions of these miscreants who are destroying our water bodies, our lands and forests like there is no tomorrow, all in search of gold to satisfy their selfishness and greed. This is why we must all take keen interest in investigations into this matter. We cannot and must not accept any shoddy investigation or farcical attempt to whitewash those responsible for this evil. The NDC calls on you, our friends in the media, the fourth estate of the realm, to join us to demand accountability from our duty bearers. We owe this a solemn duty to our country and generations unborn. Here, let me commend all of you for the yeoman's job you're already doing to expose some of these things. Some of you risked your life. And here, let me commend Irasu Sasaridonko. They've been risking their lives to bring us the videos we've been playing here today. I will commend Multimedia. I will commend all of you, City, all the stations, Despite Media, all the stations, Class Media, Power F, all of you. And my brother Kevin Taylor, who leaked this Frimpong Boateng report in the Fed, we commend you. But the point we are making is that we need to do more if we are to prevail against this evil. Enough of the plundering and destruction of our lands, forests, and water bodies. All government officials and party apparatchiks who have in one way or the other engaged in illegal mining must be arrested, prosecuted, and punished to serve as a deterrent to others. We hereby serve notice that even if they are left off the hook today, they will not escape the long arms of the law tomorrow, because crime has no expiry dates. Until this is done, we shall make no headway in our fight against illegal mining, and our beloved country will have no sustainable future.